Okay, hey, man, it's working even better than it usually does. Hey, it's Brent Leary. It is the BBC, the one based in Stockbridge, Georgia, not the other
Oh,
one.
oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
live with Brent. Oh my God.
Yeah, things that are never heard or said for 200, Alex. All right. Anyway, thanks for joining me today, and with me is, as you can see, we're already laughing and stuff. It's a gentleman I've known for at least 10, 15 years at this point. And oddly enough, we've never done like a one-on-one. Well, we've talked, of course, one-on-one, but not like with people potentially watching, maybe somebody watching, who knows. But it is my buddy, the one and only Esteban Kolsky. He is the chief evangelist for SAP CX, and he's still one of the four, as Paul Greenberg likes to say, he is still one of the four horsemen of the CRM apocalypse.
Yes.
Thanks for
I
joining me,
mean,
man.
thanks for having me. Actually, this is true. We had many great conversations, and I still remember the first time we talked one on one. We were at a Marriott hotel in San Francisco. It was in 2011. After a show that I think it was an Oracle show,
Mhm.
and we were having dinner. So that was
What was it? One of those dinners I usually try to get out of, or
no, it was just you and I, and
okay.
but getting out of you mean like having a burger with nothing on it.
No, I mean like when you and Paul and Samir and
No,
all you
no, no,
foodies
no.
try to
It was
drag
just
me to some place where you know.
it was just you and I, and there was no live octopus involved.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with that. All right. Seriously though, it's good to see you. Good to have you to do this because it's we always get a chance to do the group conversation, but definitely looking forward to this. And
Yeah.
I have a couple of things, man, right off the top. Actually, this literally I just got this notification from LinkedIn, and I was like, okay, let me use this here. This is what I literally got like 3 minutes before we started broadcasting. People are reacting to Esteban Kolsky's post. How does Nirvana,
Wow.
one of the best albums ever, never mind, and CX come together? People are talking about it. So you're a CX evangelist for SAP. You, I didn't even know you were a grunge dude, to be quite honest with you, because looking
But
at you now,
yeah, back when I had hair, right? And flannel.
when didn't we all have it back then? It's kind of give me a short synopsis of what exactly are you talking about with that?
What was the Nevermind reference? Now I gotta remember that, dude. I'm sorry. um, I was talking about how we get to Nirvana, and my mind works in weird ways. So I was actually talking how companies can prepare the infrastructure to deliver, not deliver, empower customers to create their own experiences, and how that's Nirvana. And then my mind, who works in weird ways, said, "Hey, Nirvana, I love Nevermind. Every time that I'm writing as something that I don't know how to get through, I blast Nevermind on the speaker, and that gets me through writing. You know."
Dude, I've known you all these years. And I had no idea you were that far
And
into Nirvana, man.
I'm a quandary. I mean, I'm a Tony Bennett Nirvana Prince guy. You know.
Well, see, that's why I like you. You hit it right there. Hey, Ratul,
Yeah.
good to see you, of
Yeah.
course. And yeah.
No, we're not supposed to up our short game, dude. Come on.
All right, but I
Seriously.
thank you, Ratul, because you set me up for my next thing here because it's a wardrobe related question here. I was
Okay.
doing I I was doing a search for to get a cool picture of you to put on a little promo. And do you know where I'm going? And so I did this search, and there's this one picture. I'm like, what in the hell is it? All right, so are you ready for it?
Yeah, yeah, I know. I think
Because
I know which one it is too.
I need this explained because what the hell was going on with this picture?
Oh my God.
What the hell, man? What is up? You got to
Okay,
tell us what's
I
going on
can
here.
totally explain this. This is how this goes. The other gentleman in the photo is Alan Bondi. You know that Alan and I are good friends.
Yes, yes.
Alan was working for a company that ended up sponsoring Muhammad Ali's fight night, celebrity fight night, which is a charity event, right? because it was a charity event, there were a lot of real interesting and famous people. They had a red carpet. So Alan and I decided we're going to walk the red carpet and do a few poses for the paparazzi.
I can see you.
This is one of the pictures that we did for the poses, and amazingly enough, Getty Images captured it and distributed to all the magazines, and it was even published in Us magazine as one of the pictures for the event.
That is awesome. When I saw this, the first thing I did was I with the Paul Greenberg, I said, "Hey man, have you seen this picture?" And he's like, "Are you kidding? I've never." And I said, because he was getting ready to text you right away, I was like, "Don't text him. I'm going to ask him about it here." All right.
You know what? This was it was a fantastic night. I got to meet Blake Sheldon and Kelly, whatever her name is, and even got to meet Reba McEntire and a bunch of other people. And unfortunately, the champ didn't make it that night, but his wife was there, and I got to meet her. It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was. Cool. I mean, I can never thank Ellen enough for inviting me to this thing. So.
Well, and you'll always have this to remember it by too.
I always have this to remember by, and it's on Getty Images too in the permanent archive.
Do you get a cut of that? I mean, you should.
No, right? No, it's a paparazzi thing. So but now that you published it, if you put the reference, the paparazzi will probably get a cut of that.
All right, I just had it when I saw this picture, I was like, yeah, I gotta get to the bottom of this. So before we get into the real stuff, you know what I have to do. There's one thing I have to do.
This is disclaimer time.
All the people with the backwards attitude, pointing fingers, and that's a bad excuse for saying
All right.
Anyways. But you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this anymore. Now I'm bound by HR rules to never say anything bad.
Oh, well, SAP actually asked me to do it on their behalf. What's going on? All right. Enough of that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
You, of course, you're chief evangelist for CX for SAP. I saw something, I think you put out on some kind of a post. You're kind of fed up of people equating or tying employee experience and customer experience together. Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to read. I could just feel the contempt just from the statement that you put out. So I would love to kind of hear why you're not down with that particular link right now.
So there's two parts to that. The statement was very, very simple. It was like, if you're correlating employee experience as a prequel to customer experience, stop. They're not related. You need and must have employee experience. You need and must have customer experience, but they're not related. My problem with this is, and I was actually in the, if you go and read the comments, which I know you will after this because it's so interesting. I was actually having this discussion with Brian Kling, and he's like, asking me for numbers, and I said, look, there's about 45% of companies out there that are in the middle of trying to understand how to do customer experience better, right? There's many more 45%? Than that. No, let me rephrase that. 95% of companies have a CX initiative in place, right? If you go by that typical distribution and everything, there's a whole calculation that I did, but 45% of companies are right now in the middle of trying to understand how to embrace mainstream CX, right? And this is the thing. So if these people that are trying to find a path forward listen to some of the charlatans out there, some of the people that are like, oh, customer experience is all about employee experiences, they're going to put the money, the effort, and the resources into the wrong place, and they're going to fail a customer experience, right? I mean, some of the comments that you're putting out there, employees make their own experiences. Guess what? Customers make their own experiences. Customer making their own experience will never say, oh, I'm not going to call because company Acme has a bad, employee experience, therefore not going to get what I need. That's not how it works. There's no correlation between employee and customer experience. It's a customer experience that you prepare for. You create an infrastructure. Customers create their own experiences any way they want. And yes, you need to provide for the employees, but that's not how it doesn't matter. I mean, look, if employee experience were correlated to customer experience, then nobody would ever have a good experience in airlines. Airline management is horrible. They never look at anything that the customer wants. They make their own decisions, right? But the employees, even without the right processes and without the right tools, find ways to make good by their customers. Not all the time, not 100% of customers, but you hear these good stories now and then, and you feel, for employees trying to reroute you. Hey, you cannot get to Boston, but maybe I can get you to Chicago, and then you go to Florida, and then tomorrow morning you get to Boston. That's the only way to get there. Things like that, right? I mean, that's because the employee, even though they don't have the right experience, they have the right attitude to solve the problem, right? You have to provide for that and empower that. But even without that, as a customer, I got to make my own experiences. I cannot rely on the company doing a good job with their employees to create my experiences.
So what should it be? What's the right way of framing that then?
That's the right way to frame that. The right way to frame it is actually partly what Alan was saying earlier in the, that you pushed over there. Employees don't make experiences. Employees have experiences, right? Employers don't make experiences. Brands don't make experiences. Customers have experiences. It's a right idea. You provide for the infrastructure. You got to understand that, even though there is a correlation between your employees and your customers, you don't manage one by managing the other. You have to provide for your employees regardless of the customer experience, and you have to provide for your customers regardless of the employee experiences. These are separate things that you have to manage separately, and these are things that you do well by themselves. And at some point, they will intertwine. If I call and I get somebody on the phone who's happy because he has, a good process, good tools, good services, good benefits, and all that stuff, yeah, my interaction will be better. But even if that interaction fails, the experience is not failed because of a bad interaction. So you need to provide employee experiences. You need to provide customer experiences. You need to provide the infrastructures, and then let the employees and let the customers build experiences any way they want.
So basically, maybe the nirvana would be that you give them, you give each what they need, and then they figure it out possibly together, but they should gravitate towards each other, right?
Gravitate or intertwine is it's a discussion there, right? I mean, they won't gravitate towards each other. They will intertwine. So
intertwine.
Intertwine. I mean, what do you do? I was actually looking at the list of songs from Nevermind, by the way, and there's the third song in the album, "Come As You Are," is perfect. Yeah. "Come As You Are" is perfect for this discussion, right?
Well, we might need some lithium too. We might need a little lithium at
yeah, well, that's true. But as an employee, come as you are. As a customer, come as you are, and then find a way to get what you need. And where the two may intertwine in an interaction. An interaction that's not but an experience. An experience is made of a series of interactions over time. So you may have a bad interaction because it was bad employee experience, but that doesn't change the customer experience. This whole idea that a customer experience is a single interaction needs to stop, because then you're going to drive yourself mad as a company trying to improve every single freaking interaction, and you won't be able to. That's what
is like the thing that drives you the craziest about customer experience and the talk and the chatter and the kind of misperceptions. What's the thing that drives you, that you hear the most, that drives you the craziest?
My Xanax and Prozac provider is very, very happy with people talking about brands designing experiences for customers.
Okay.
Because there's nothing that makes me climb the walls more than when somebody says, "We design a great experience for our customers." No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Did you
create decent interactions? You can create decent interactions. You may create what you call an experience, but at the end of the day, your customers or your employees, if you go back to what we were talking about earlier, will build whatever they want. They don't care what you decide, sorry. They don't care at all whatever you design. You don't design anything. You just build an infrastructure, provide all the access to the right tools, to the right processes, to the right data, and then let your employees and your customers do whatever they want. That's simple. That's it, man.
What about, you had all this talk and discussion about direct to consumer, especially during the pandemic, when you customers couldn't go to the store, they couldn't buy your stuff off the shelf. So how did you get the stuff that they went to them? How did you interact with them? So everybody started building this direct to consumer, or at least they started talking about it and trying to do it, I guess. How successful do you think folks have been with that?
Jury's still out, to be honest. I think that the biggest driver for direct to consumer was the disruption in supply chains, right? I mean, we if my distributors cannot get the product to the stores, or there's no stores, or they cannot get the products in shelves to deliver through online, then I need to find another way to get to my customers. So, have I as a brand been successful in reaching my customers, bringing it to my brand and buy direct? We have some case studies like everybody else does of 10 times revenue in 6 weeks, that didn't exist before, blah, blah, blah. Sure, that's a sign of the times, but I think the jury's still out as to whether or not the support setup for those direct to consumers are in place, right? I mean, it's one thing to have a warehouse stock with shoes that you need to move and find a way to move them. And it's a very different way set up to create your manufacturing processes to be either just in time or to repopulate that warehouse so you can continue to do that. And that we haven't mastered the second part. We have mastered the first part. We have been able to address the shortcomings in supply chain. We have able to address the expanded demand from customers during tough times when they couldn't get out of the house. But we still need to convert the company and the processes and the economy to support direct to consumer. We're not there yet, so we'll see. We'll see over the next couple of years how it comes out.
How does some of the things that were talked about at the keynote last week, the whole network of networks and the focus on supply chain, being able to kind of bring all of those things together? What's the potential from the CX perspective of those kind of, building the network of networks, being able to tie these, functional networks together in a way that it creates a community, and that community creates, the ability to have these experiences that are going to hit most of the customers?
Look, in reality, if we're going to be honest, right, we're not driving a new idea. We're just re-emphasizing and reinforcing what our customers are doing, right? I mean, this network of network and building of business networks, it's been going on for a while. Our partners and our customers have been doing this, and I'm starting to sound corporate. I hate that. We have been doing this forever, but it's true. I mean, we're just looking at what our customers are doing. We're having the conversations with them, and then we're saying, okay, so let's aggregate this into a common idea that everybody can embrace, and that's where the business of networks and the networks of networks come in. This has been going on for a while, and we're just adapting our products to support that. I mean, I don't like to talk about products and what we do better than others. It's not a competitive statement, but we have some great value proposition to our customers that is unmatched, and we're trying to emphasize and highlight that so that our customers can understand better what they need to do with our products.
Cool. No, that's sounds good to me. Let's talk about.
Sounds corporate to me, but okay.
I know. You're my boy. I'm not going to. Anyway, so let's talk about something that's getting a lot of attention, but I don't know if it's getting a lot of attention at the enterprise level. What role is privacy starting to play in customer experience? There's a lot of focus on it. What happened with Apple and the iOS 14.5 update. People having the opportunity to opt out, or before they get opted in, they have the option of not being opted in. And we're seeing the opt-in rates for folks who have the choice. It's in the US, I think the last number I saw was about 6% opt-in rate. Are you getting the sense that privacy is becoming a bigger piece of the customer experience component, or are we ways away from that happening?
You know me and privacy, we're BFFs, right? I mean, I don't populate most social medias because of that. So, do I get the sense? I think that I think that privacy is the alpha and consent is the omega, right? Beginning to end. So privacy and consent go together. So, what we are seeing the opt-in, right? Is the consent part, and the numbers are speaking very clearly. I mean, we assumed for many years that customers would not have a problem being opted into everything. You did a show last Friday with the cold, the Iceman, right?
John Colter Rice Lawson.
Yes, exactly. So you did a show talking about, how Amazon opted you in versus and allowing you to opt out of becoming part of the green. I think that was a mistake by Amazon, a huge one. But I'm not allowed to say that in public, so I won't. But the thing is, like, consent is the corollary to privacy, and you can start with privacy, but you got to end with consent, and consent requires a whole massive infrastructure that is very different from what we're used to. I mean, we can put 3 or 4 letters together and pick different countries around the world and talk about this, or we can just say the bottom line is, like, why would you force customers to do things your way when they want to do things their way? And then we go back to customer experience. If you're going to enable customers to pick their experiences and build them as they want, then privacy and consent are an integral part of that. You need to understand what I'm gonna capture, how I'm gonna use it, and what I'm gonna do what you tell me to do.
And in a lot of instances, it's not just consent; it's even just telling you what you're doing, telling you what we're planning to do, and is it ethical? I mean, there's a lot of pieces that go beyond just the technology around this. Maybe it's the culture of the company, it's the way that they communicate, and it seems to me that if I'm right, if it feels like consumers, generally speaking, are getting more aware of what's going on because of the stuff that's happening with Apple, that's going to force companies to have to really think about this as part of customer experience, I would think.
Well, so think about it this way, right? I mean, I got like everybody else in the world, I got a tracking device, a fitness tracking device for my wrist. It's not an Apple, but it's something else, right? And I had some problems with it, so I had to uninstall it from my phone and reinstall it. Part of the reinstallation, they start giving me all this, like, talk about privacy, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do what we usually do. I'm going to actually take the time and read through these things. I'm going to read through the privacy policy, usage of data, and all that stuff. Goodness gracious, my friend. I mean, seriously, is this really what these people do with my data? I don't want to have anything to do with it. I just want to throw it in the trash, And the thing is, like, we don't look at that. We don't, because to make it complicated on purpose. I had to do like 6 links before getting to data usage. Yeah, I go to the privacy policy. Yeah, we respect your privacy. We ask for your consent, and except for these cases. Oh, well, there's a case with a link. Let's go to that other link, and then that other link, and then really, you actually do that with my data? Come on, dude. Seriously, right? So that's the problem. It's like, it's important, but we're not aware of it because we're not. I mean, nobody's going to take 30 minutes to go through 6 links to get to like the actual crux of what they do. So then we suffer from it. But it's very important for brands to actually both understand and embrace privacy and consent. That's alpha and omega on customer experiences. Yep.
All right. It's important for them to do that. What do you think that they feel like it's important to do that at this point?
What's it? Is that the 5th, the one that I'm allowed to use in this situation? So the 5th or the 6th, okay. I can't remember.
Okay, move right along.
I think that Apple is leading us in the right direction, and that's going to have influence in virtually all the brands over time.
I think Apple is, but let's put it like this: Apple. Why wouldn't Apple do it? Because they're not making their money off of ads. They're making their money off of selling devices versus other companies who are going to be suffering pretty significant losses because they make a majority of their money off of ads and revenue. So anyway, it's.
I completely agree with you if I could, but I can't, so I'm not going to agree with you.
All right, let's see. Let's something we can talk about. Let me ask you this: how long have you been the evangelist in that evangelist role?
This role is about 5-6 months old. It was a follow-up. It was a follow-up to the strategy when we decided that I'm not a good people manager.
Okay, move right along with that. So what's been
it
like
was actually
most...
it was. If you really think about it, once you get the strategy and you align everybody internally into a strategy, the next step is creating the better narrative and trying to have the right conversations. And that's how I moved into the role of like internally and externally managing this narrative and conversations. We have some very, very good strategies that we put together last year, and you can be the judge of that much more than I can as an analyst. And we're trying to do the best way to implement those internally and externally. So that's where the role comes from.
So tell me, what's been the best thing and what's been the hardest thing about doing this role? Because you created this role basically, and you're
Yeah.
shaping this role. So
Yeah.
tell me what's been like the best or the best surprise, and then give me the hardest thing that you've
So,
had
so
to.
the best has been, like you said, creating the role and shaping the role. Is like, the challenge of taking on something that wasn't here before, and how to make it work in a company of this size and this magnitude. I mean, SAP is turning 50 next year, right? There's no
Wow.
way that I'm coming in and changing the company in 6 months. I can tell you that much now. Although before I was naive enough to think that I had a chance, I know now that that's not happening. So, the best is, rising up to the challenge and finding the ways to come around the barriers. The worst, honestly, not the worst. It hasn't been bad. It's just the most challenging, like you said. It's the same. It's like, how do you turn around the oil tanker in a dime? How do you actually make them change the way we think about things and the way we take things to market and the way we talk about it? I mean, you were probably watching the CX keynote, say yes, even if you weren't, before this, right? So,
I did.
I mean,
We even did a
okay.
show on it last week.
I know, and I was too. So, I mean, I think that if you look at the CX keynote, you start to see some of the new narratives becoming intertwined into what we were talking about, right? Things like, the design driven, I mean, data driven and insight driven experiences. Things like, commerce interconnected with marketing, interconnected with service, interconnected with data. These are things that are new to us, and that we're starting to like put the narrative out, and it's going to take some time to do. So it's just a challenge of keeping these things going and finding the right people to target and to embrace the narrative.
So one of the things I really it stuck out to me at the keynote was how kind of the combination of talking about zero what's zero inefficiency, zero emissions, and
Yeah.
zero inequality.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first time I heard that combination stitched together,
Yeah.
like particularly from any of the big vendors.
Yeah.
How does that message? How do you take that message and put it into CX terminology for customers and prospects, the folks you talk to?
Wow. I thought this was going to be easy questions, dude. Come on.
I'm going back to that picture if you want, man.
Well, so I mean, think about it this way. In all honesty, think about it this way. We've been talking about sustainability as a core business driver for a few years now, right? I mean, Bill McDermott started this, and we will continue on that. So, zero efficiency, zero inequality, constant to sustainability. I mean, sustainability includes many aspects of it. I'm nowhere near an expert at any level like that, but diversity, inclusion, sustainability, empathy. Those are core drivers for SAP Corporate, and they became, in the last year and a half, they became a core drivers for our strategy as well, right? I mean, we need to empower our customers to use empathy with their customers and their employees. That's a core driver for our applications. We understand that everybody's different, and we need to deliver to that. We understand that customers build their own experiences, and we don't tell them what to do. So we need to be able to deliver to that. So that concept of empathy, the concept of inclusion for everybody, it's part of our design. I mean, do I have a specific areas I can point to? No, but I can tell you that we push this through our product managers and our developers to make sure that our products improve over time. And just like everything else that I've been talking about, this is a process that takes a few years to manifest. I like where we are and where we're going. If I was on the outside looking at SAP, I would say it's a company in the move. It's a company with a new direction and a new ambition in CX, right? So the rest is
Yeah.
going to come over time. Yeah.
No, I think that's a great way to put it. I thoroughly that was a pleasant surprise when I heard not just the individual piece, but the way it was put together. I thought I hope that this can
Yeah.
be pulled off, because it
Yeah.
will be a kind of a big deal. At least I think so. All right,
You
tell
know,
me.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to brag. I mean, I'm not going to say anything because it sounds like bragging. But I mean, we don't do this for message and like to be perceived as innovators. We do this because we truly are changing the way SAP works. I mean, I can say that from the inside, things that I couldn't see from the outside. We are really trying to change the way SAP works, and it's a process. So that's best I can say. So it's going to take some time.
Yeah. No. Tell me something that you want to talk about to customers that they should do now, even though they are focused on maybe some other stuff, things that you're saying, look, you need to do this now. You need to think about this now. What is that thing?
That's wow. You just got my 12 slide deck on a 1 second. Okay, let me see what I can do with that. Thank you. So this is the thing. You need to understand two things. We're living in a post-digital economy. Digital doesn't need to prove itself anymore. If it didn't prove itself in the last year, it never will prove itself. So stop talking about digital transformation. Assume that it's a given and just move forward with that, right? And the second one is we're living in a post-pandemic world. I mean, yes, the pandemic continues. There's places around the world where it's horrible. I'm not discarding that. From the business perspective, however, the shock of the pandemic is past. We know what worked and we didn't. Now it's time to actually embrace digital, embrace these new processes. We need to create a new business models, like you were talking about direct to consumer a few seconds ago, and then move forward with that. What I want to talk to business, stop throwing money behind bad, consultants and bad management stuff, and just focus on how you improve your business. So like when the next pandemic comes, or whatever it is, you're prepared. You have the right data in the right place. You have the right processes in the right place. You have the right way to make changes dynamically, and then you just move forward. I mean, it's not about technology, processes, people, metrics or governance. It's about a combination of all that into a dynamic model of business that we've been preaching for the last decade or two, and now finally we came to the point where it needs to come together. So
that was slide deck number 12 slide.
No, there's a lot missing in there. I just gave you the whole 25-minute narrative in 30 seconds, dude.
I appreciate that, man.
Anything for you.
So I know you got things to do. Because is it like the conference, or isn't it still going on right now? I mean, things are.
It is. There's a bunch of there's a bunch of sessions, and I'm supposed to be promoting whatever we do, which I don't know what it is, but
Well, this is the time to promote. Ratul, can you help him? You might need some help here. What is
Ratul
supposed to be promoting?
Ratul got it. I'm not concerned. He's got it under control. So.
Awesome, man. So
yeah.
I can't believe it's 2021 and we're just getting around to doing something like this.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we did.
I got to tell you though, your growth over the last year as a broadcaster, and the inspiration to others like me with my puny little show, whatever it is, it's been impressive. I mean, you have done a tremendous job over the last year, turning everything around and really reinventing the industry. So I had to say kudos for that.
Well, thank you. I don't know if it's that, but I appreciate it. Well, you just mentioned something you could plug though. Your show. Why don't you try plugging that?
It's not even a show. I'm just doing a few recordings. I mean, hey, even the title is I don't know what I'm doing with friends.
That's the title.
Actually,
really?
The title is I still don't know what I'm doing with friends. I changed it 3 times. The first time was I don't know what I'm doing. Second time was I still don't know what I'm doing. Third time was I still don't know what I'm doing with friends. And that's when I had Lauren Vargas. That was a fantastic conversation, right?
Yes.
And
I haven't
I
talked
just
to her in
tried.
years. Wow.
Yeah, I just tried to follow your lead and just have unscripted conversations about whatever happens to be. I have some good ones coming up. I'm actually recording one with Graham Hill in a couple of days, which the hell hasn't frozen over. We can have a conversation without yelling at each other. I promise.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
I want to see
yeah,
that.
we'll see. I have a few partners of ours coming in. I have a few other influencers and pundits. I'll bring you along when we have something good to talk about. It's just 15-20 minutes of conversation, and it exists somewhere on YouTube. Follow SAP Customer Experience on Twitter, I guess, or whatever it's called, and you'll find it. Or follow me on LinkedIn, and I promote him and put him as part of my newsletter. So, yeah.
Oh boy, you got it all, man.
I got 3 things going, man. I'm good. I got 3 things. I got a weekly newsletter called a CX Minute, which now you don't get to read it in a freaking minute. People, come on, get on with it. It's called a CX Minute in homage to the word in a New York minute, where anything can happen in a CX minute. I have the video show, which has 3 or 4 recordings, and it's going to have a bunch more in the next coming weeks. And then I have a ZDNet every 3 weekish or so, posting of an article. So trying to expand the conversation. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm going to end this conversation before I ask you about voice, because I don't. Really
Mike Boyson?
No,
we're not going to have the conversation.
Voice.
Oh.
We're voice.
Oh, voice? Yeah, we're not going to talk about voice. No. It's an interface. It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook.
And on that note, folks, this has been a lot of fun and a lot of great information from one of the horsemen. Still one of the horsemen. Are you still Digital Pestilence? Is that what we?
Digital Pestilence. That's my nickname. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, on behalf of Digital Pestilence, I'm gonna sign off, and we'll see you tomorrow. It's CRM. CRM Playaz tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see you then. And we'll let him get back to whatever, doing all sorts of. I mean, it's like your media schedule is ridiculous. It sounds like, so we better let him.
Yeah, well, I gotta go make sure Ratul didn't give away the factory yet. So.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. Talk to you guys.